What's up, y'all? JDB Sports back at it again. After this Hall of Fame game, we got some news, we got some breakdowns, we got some recaps, we got some highlights for y'all to watch too. I can get those highlights on the big screen. Peyton, you want to get started on your little bit of news? Let's go ahead and get to it then.
Yeah, starting off Hall of Fame game, preseason opener, if you will. It was a really lopsided game from the start. First play of the game you're going to see here is the Chargers punching out the ball, recovering a fumble, and then taking it into scores shortly after that. Again, a 34-7 game. They beat the Lions in every statistical category: passing yards, rushing yards, turnovers, time of possession, you name it, they converted better. The Lions really looked bad as far as their depth goes, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Their backup quarterback situation looks really rough with Kyle Allen. Don't know where to go from there.
Yeah, Kyle Allen's never been that guy, in my opinion. Time in Carolina, time in Washington, just not really that man.
Yeah.
Not really a great backup either. That's why I moved on from him and got Mariota, but it is what it is. I mean, it's the Lions look porous, and if they have to deal with the injury bug, like, we think they might have to, then I'm not gonna say it's over for them, but they gotta have a plan going forward.
Yeah, and especially at corner, I know James Rakestraw. He just went down with a shoulder injury. Ennis Rakestraw, he went down with a shoulder injury. So they're missing a corner, but corner Rock Ya-Sin for the Lions had a standout game. Really good in tackling and opening space. I believe he's an 8-year vet in the league, so he's been around for a while, provides some solid depth from there. But yeah, Lions definitely need some after how last year transpired. But on to some other standouts, Alex. Who do you take away from the game as the biggest performers?
Well, talking about before the stream, Trey Lance, gonna look at it. Dude is solid, looking really good, looking better than he was in a Cowboys uniform. What was it, like two touchdowns in the day, I believe?
Yeah, 2 touchdowns.
Pretty solid.
One to Will Disley, one to Keandre Lambert-Smith.
Yeah, he's one of my big time performers. You also have a couple on here. I think Kamani Vidal was another one that, looking really good on the goal line. Can't really complain about him. Definitely looking forward to seeing him get more touches. Kind of surprised that O'Marion didn't get as many touches, but I think we talked about it before. He's supposed to be the number one guy anyways. A couple series should do him some justice. But would have loved to see more of him. It's like you want to see more of your stars in the preseason. Just especially when you're obviously drafted in the first round, you want to see more of them. And we will, but we just gotta wait.
Yeah, 2 more weeks. I think he'll definitely get more burn in his next preseason game. I think why they were so precautious with him here is possibly because Najee is still working back from that eye injury. You don't know how he's going to fare when he does come back. So you're really playing with depth there if something happens to O'Marion. And again, Kamani Vidal played a great game. Saw Nico Reed jump a route on the outside for about 80-yard return, put him in the red zone again. It was a baller game for the Chargers secondary all around.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at Tesla getting on the Lions side, getting open a couple times, looking pretty sharp, especially on that last catch that we seen on the highlights. Can't really complain. Yeah. But the Chargers secondary was eaten, man. Just saw a pick in the end zone by Tony Jefferson, I believe. It was pretty solid.
Yeah, he's UNC status too. He's teaching all these young guys how to go out and play with some heart, and I mean, definitely showed up on tape. So let's move into some other news now. Besides a lopsided game, if you want to take some pieces away for the running backs we got on court.
Really, that's kind of a toughie, in my opinion. If you want to go ahead and
with Kyron Williams and James Cook just jumping into
our extensions in our signings. Kyron Williams, love to see it. Versatile back for the Rams on a 3-year, $33 million deal, and then James Cook also holding in is not far apart on the deal. Must be nice to not be so far apart on the deal. Not throwing any shade at Terry McLaurin or anything, but it is what it is.
We'll definitely break him down a little later because there has been, a little more whispers on that side of things. But again, Kyron, he's been a bell cow for them over the past 3 years. Just needs to work on the fumbles this year. I think that's the biggest thing. You've drafted a running back 2 years in a row. They traded up for Jarquez Hunter this year. They drafted Blake Corum last year. So those RBs figure to seam into the offense in some way or another. And then, of course, James Cook is looking for a similar deal to Kyron, around 11 mil, 12 mil a year.
To be honest with you, I like James Cook.
Yeah, and I mean, he scored the most touchdowns out of any running back last year as far as rushing touchdowns go. So he definitely has some leverage there, and I think they will get a deal done. It's, again, just playing the agent game and seeing where they lie after that. So.
Right. I do want to look at this, though. I know you said you wanted to stay away from the lopsided game, but I want to go back to it just for a second. The Lions' special teams returners seem to be having some issues. I saw a muffed punt, a muffed catch, and they got it back and kicked in. Yeah, it's still going up, 27-7 at the point as the highlights are rolling. But to get onto a quarterback, kind of worth talking about. Kind of surprising, to be honest. I'm surprised that the Browns are going out there and getting Tyler Huntley, Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, Snoop Huntley, and again, I attribute this to all the injuries they have had this camp. It's been terrible for them. Dylan Gabriel has a hamstring issue. Kenny Pickett has a hamstring issue. Joe Flacco seems to for sure be the starter. Shadur's been banged up, but he looks like he's ready to go for his preseason debut. So
he's starting. Am I right?
Yeah, he is starting. He is starting in that game.
Yeah,
so.
I heard that somebody, I don't know if somebody was trolling, but they posted the Browns' unofficial depth chart, and he was fourth on the list.
He is fourth on the list.
So that's not a troll. Okay.
No, it's Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, and then Sanders. How I expect it to shape out is Flacco, Pickett, Sanders, Gabriel, and then they're probably going to cut Snoop Huntley after the injuries kind of figure themselves out.
Yeah, let's say Snoop's more or less just a camp body. But then Dylan Gabriel's impressing more than Shadur. That's something I'm surprised about, to be honest. Seeing that first pass intercepted in camp, but
yeah, I think they're just playing, again, unofficial, and they're really going to see a lot more in preseason. However, Shadur has been getting more hype out of camp than Dylan Gabriel, if that means anything there. And again, you add the injury on top of it. Availability is the best ability, and not having those guys around is just more opportunity for him to rise up the depth chart.
All right. No, I agree with that one. Well, yeah, highlights are done on that game. Talking about another quarterback, kind of jumping around just a tiny bit, a little bit. Buccaneers signed Teddy Bridgewater to be the backup quarterback. Dude, just going from coaching the quarterback to coaching the quarterback. Pick one and decide already, my man.
Come on. In all honesty, hey, he's getting that money, and I think he's a solid veteran presence for Baker Mayfield as well. The backup situation in Tampa is not good at all.
Trask, right?
You have Kyle Trask under his rookie deal still. I think this is his last year of control. And then you got Teddy Bridgewater now. So definitely a gross quarterback room if Baker was to go down.
Yeah, indeed. Kyle Trask, I remember them talking about him being the apparent heir to Tom Brady. I think we talked about this a couple streams ago, but just not shaping out that way. Of course, career backup, it is what it is.
No. He was always carried by his receivers in college, in my opinion. You got Kadarius Toney, you got a Kyle Pitts. Those two were so good in college, both first-round picks. So, again, Kyle Trask was just set up for failure, unfortunately, and now they're on to the next.
I mean, hate to see it, I guess, for him. But we can talk about Raiders trading Jacorian Bennett to the Eagles for Thomas Booker, the fourth. Mm-hmm. So starting corner for backup defensive tackle. So just really trying to get the seeds off of the Vic Fangio Eagles defense tree.
Yeah,
And like you
yeah,
said, I think you said it before about uh, Bennett being not much of a Pete Carroll kind of guy as far as scheme
yes.
goes.
Yeah, Pete normally likes a little bigger of corners, more physical. For example, Darian Porter, who they drafted out of Iowa State, I believe is 6'3", 6'4" ish, third round pick, and he should slot in as a starter immediately. And then you have Eric Stokes as well, who is a little bit taller over from the Packers. So definitely a transition in defensive philosophy. Fangio gets his guy, and a great compliment to Quinion Mitchell. And then the Raiders really needed to secure a defensive lineman after losing Christian Wilkins, of course.
Say a win-win for both teams. I mean, Christian Wilkins and Thomas Booker. How can you really compare the two?
Yeah, you really can't. And, you know, Thomas Booker, he didn't have a lot of opportunities in that stacked Eagles defensive line last year. So who knows how he's going to perform this year. Again, having that tutelage from before of the Eagles' great defensive line room.
You know? Yeah, let's hope he performs well for the fact that, you know, you got Kansas City in the division, you got, you know, the Chargers, who just got Omarion Hampton, you got Pacheco on the other side, you have why am I drawing a blank? The Broncos,
the Broncos. Harvey there.
Yeah, right. Though I was about to say I'm kind of drawing a blank on the Broncos. Sorry, Bo Nix and the Broncos. We didn't forget about you. Just drawing a blank. It is what it is. Yeah, you got to definitely have a good defensive line as far as that goes for, you know, the running backs in that division.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and speaking more of defensive line, I'll get into two guys real quick before we jump back into some receiver news. Zach Sealer, defensive lineman, probably the best defensive player on the Dolphins, signs a 3-year, $68 million extension. Really good at disengaging, really good at the first punch. And then again, a great run stuffer as well. So he does it all. And Zach Allen, also for the Broncos, 4 years, $102 million. One of the top defensive tackles in the league, signs a long-term extension. They lock up one of their cornerstones of their defense for years on end. Should be a really exciting unit for the Broncos this year. Opposite of what the Dolphins are doing over there.
You might as well keep going after the Dolphins, man. Let's go after him again. Kader Kahal goes on IR with a torn ACL. I said that wrong, didn't I?
Kader
Kohu. All right, gonna keep going after the Dolphins. Really just losing their main guy, like you were talking about before, and who are they gonna be playing? They're gonna bring Kendall Fuller back in, or?
I mean, they have to at this point. They have to do something, man, because again, Jordan Poyer also isn't there. Javon Holland left, so it's not only their corners, but it's their safeties too.
Yeah.
And it is going to be a recipe for disaster. The Dolphins are going to be passing so much this year. They might have a top 5 passing rate in the NFL.
Their pass defense is going to be that great. Yeah.
Their pass defense is going to be awful. They're going to be playing from behind.
Time for Tua or Tyreek Hill to play corner.
Get Tua has one more injury. Get him out of the league. Speaking of injuries, Niners. A lot of injuries thus far in camp.
Getting bit by the bug yet again, and then that's what they're going to say when, you know, they're down and out in the year. They're like, oh, the injury bug got us again. Break the news. Let's go.
Yep. I don't think that's what's going to hold them back this year. Of course, you feel the same way. However, you know, fans are going to cope. But Equinemius St. Brown and Robbie Chosen Anderson both signed on with the 49ers amid a Jawan Jennings calf injury that's still ongoing, a Jacob Cowing injury, hamstring, still ongoing, Andy Isabella getting cut, and now you sign 2 more bodies in camp trying to figure out the rest of that room. Who's going to be without Brandon Ayuk for at least 4, maybe 6 weeks?
Yeah, and after a Deebo Samuel trade.
Yeah, man. In all honesty, that room is really bad right now. Ricky Pearsall is their number 1. I believe Jawan Jennings will come back and be their number 1 to start the year, but calf injuries are tough, especially as a wideout. So.
Yeah, and hammies as well. But another wide receiver. We're going to talk about Terry McLaurin requesting that trade. Looking for a DK type of style of a deal. Honestly, when Dan Quinn was asked about it, he basically said it's an emotional time and it's just part of the business. You know, your number one wide receiver, one of the people that made Jaden Daniels look as bright as he did last year, passing touchdown wise, is requesting a trade out. Jaden Daniels would like to see Terry. He's eager to see him back on the field and hope 17 can get in there and get to it. Just honestly, I think he wants too much money, and that's my opinion from a Commanders fan. I think north of 33 mil is kind of steep, a little too steep in my opinion. Maybe like a 28, 29, maybe 30 at the most.
Yeah, I would just, again, if you're gonna make guarantees in the contract, just make it front loaded, so all the guarantees are in the first couple years, and then the third year, make it kind of a team option maybe.
Yeah, put like a void year or something in there if they have to.
Exactly, and I don't think a void year is necessarily what they need to do, just because if year 3 they see it, they can cut him. Because again, the guaranteed money, the cap hit's not really going to be there. They're not going to take on a lot of dead money if they push forth the deal right, which Adam Peters has been doing a really good job of finding value over the past couple of years in free agency. So
he's been doing real well as far as free agency goes, and he's been drafting pretty well as well. Can't really complain about it. Want to talk about another sign on? We got the Bengals signing Noah Fant. Tight end from, I believe he was from Denver, and he played in Seattle too as well, right?
He did. No, he most recently played in Seattle. You got that exactly correct.
Why am I thinking about George Fant for some reason? That's somebody else, right? I don't know that.
Yes.
Whatever.
Okay.
Average fan trying to do a podcast here, but it is what it is. All right. Raiders signing Colton Miller to a 3-year, $66 million extension. $1 million extension. Yep. Left tackle, by the way, if y'all didn't know who that was. Signing up locking up a cornerstone to the piece of that offensive line. You said one of the best tackles in the league, in my opinion. Well, in your opinion, right?
Yeah, I would slot him in top 10 for sure. Again, your top 5s of the world, your Trent Williams, your Rashawn Slater, Tristan Wirfs moved over formally.
Just had to throw Rashawn Slater in there because you got that bag, right?
Hey, you got it for a reason, man. He's so locked down, and I think even this year he's going to have a better year. So stay tuned for that.
We can talk about another Chargers thing, but it's not very on the positive side. But Denzel Perryman being released from custody after being arrested for possession of an unregistered firearm in California. And what does that bring up to you? Because California is stricter on their laws, I know.
Yeah, in all honesty, he was going to the shooting range and he got, pulled over and kind of searched and everything like that. I don't know too many details. However, he's out already. He's back with the team already. Jim Harbaugh visited him in jail actually to kind of clear the air. Everything's good. He's not a crazy man in my estimation. And good for him for getting out because he's playing alongside Dion Henley this year. So
hope he can stay on the field this year.
Yeah, a little more than he did. He played a solid amount of games, but not enough last year.
Not enough indeed. Usually seen him on the bench when I tune in the Charger games for the most part. We could talk about, a quarterback battle in Indianapolis. First on the unofficial depth chart, we'll go back and forth starting preseason games per Shane Steichen, Daniel Jones, and Anthony Richardson. So who starts the first one? Did they announce that yet?
Anthony Richardson starts the first one, so that's my projected starter.
Yeah, give the incumbent the leading role. I guess you could say the leading start. Makes sense. I feel like Anthony Richardson wins that job too. Maybe Daniel Jones makes it somewhat close, but at the same time, I don't see Daniel Jones starting. There's not too much to look forward to with a Daniel Jones led team, in my opinion.
And I think you have to open up the year with Anthony Richardson because he provides more potential, right? If you're looking for Boom to start the year, you want to set the tone. You really want to jump out to a hot start and battle in what's a lackluster division, in my opinion. Why not go for it with an Anthony Richardson? And after 4 games, you don't like what you see, go to Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
More of a stable option.
It's not like the Colts are vying for a Super Bowl at this point in time.
No.
Getting back on their feet more or less. I'm not gonna say like a cakewalk of a division. I mean, you got the Texans, you got the Jaguars and the Titans. Everybody looking optimistic in their own rights. You know, Cam Ward and Tennessee, my projected division place winner. The Jaguars with Travis Hunter, and that, you know, he's going to be starting both sides apparently. So, and then we have, you know, CJ Stroud and the Texans making a comeback under that new OC that they got after Bobby Slowick was canned for throwing so many deep crosses to Nico Collins.
Yeah, yeah, dude. And again, I don't mind the deep crossers to Nico Collins, but you got to free him up more with something underneath and not really send another receiver with him to take that safety and just jam it into Collins' face.
That literally just sounds like my Madden plays. Like I'll throw my inside receiver on a post route and then have my outside on the streak. But then, I mean, Nico Collins is not running the streaks. It's the deep crosses we're talking about. But same rule applies. You throw a post route over the middle to draw that safety, especially if they're cover 2, and you just bomb it down the sideline to your, you know, X receiver. But
they know it's coming with Nico. They know it's coming, so right, it's a little harder.
We got to talk about another wide receiver here. Khalil Shakir gets high ankle sprain. Hopes to be ready for week 1 though. Honestly, you hate to see injuries in the NFL, but you know, we've had our talks off stream about our projections as far as players who may be in or out this year. With the one comment being maybe Dallas' stadium collapse, but.
So, talking about Dallas stadium collapse, you want to talk about big old Micah Parsons asking a trade and Jerry being like, huh?
Yeah, he's bringing the house down, and honestly, Jerry's just basically gonna be like, okay, well, no, this, you know, he's gonna be in la Jerry land, Delusionalville. He's gonna do whatever he can to make, you know, the fans happy, but at the same time, it is just a business. If Micah's not happy there, he can either hold out for his contract like other players are doing, or just simply not show up and take the fines. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, really, really tough scenario in all honesty, because again, the Cowboys have their hands tied with their money in so many different pots, and
they got CD, you got Dak.
Put in is for their best player. You know, you pay Dak $60 million. You got to pay Micah Parsons $40.
Let me ask you something. Is Dak worth the money in this day and age?
No, I don't think Dak's worth the money. I think he's a good quarterback. I just don't think he's worth $60 million a year. I think 50 would have been a good benchmark considering today's market. Brock Purdy money you're seeing, he got like $53 million a year. I think he's pretty comparable. If Dak Prescott was paid a year before Brock Purdy, I think he should have got $50 million, because the $3 million is the increase from the next year onto the team salary cap.
I guess I can go with it. No
Jalen Hurts money.
Jalen Hurts money, but who's the MVP? Is Jalen Hurts MVP, or is he elite?
No.
Dak's elite, though, right?
I wouldn't say Dak. I wouldn't say Dak's elite. I would just say Dak's pretty good.
A lot of their crumblings, because, you know, in most cases, you don't need the quarterback to be a superhero. I mean, when you got CeeDee Lamb, when you had Ezekiel Elliott back in the day, you had the likes of Dez Bryant, Jason Witten before they retired, and Dez didn't get re-signed. When you have players like that, and your team is constantly making the playoffs and playing well, but then they crumble, it's a coaching, and it's also a mindset thing, which means that something's got to change as far as the mindset, the culture in that building. Perhaps maybe Jerry Jones needs to step away before the Cowboys become relevant again. In my opinion, I think he does. He's holding the team back in more ways than one, man. And that's coming from a Commanders fan trying to be nice.
Yeah, he's definitely holding him back. I don't think he steps down because I think there's too much of a power dynamic there that he doesn't want to let go of.
Well, yeah,
And he enjoys the Dallas soap opera.
he's gonna have to be forced to step down. It's gonna be like another Dan Snyder move. Find so many allegations, so many bad allegations against him to force him to step down. Otherwise, if none of that stuff would have aired out about Dan Snyder and the Washington Commanders and Redskins back in the day, we Lily would probably still be under his tutelage, and we would still be dealing with him. I feel like he would have never stepped down willingly. I mean, he was even trying to back out of the sale of the Commanders after they agreed to it. So
yeah, and I think it's a little different of circumstances just because the Dan Snyder stuff, he was more of a straight up weirdo behind the scenes rather than someone who's just power absorbed and wants everything his way, Jerry's way. And if it's not his way, then he has to throw a tantrum or create a situation that he's not ready for in full transparency. So.
I believe Quandre Diggs signed with the Titans. That's what the note says here. Quandre Diggs signed. He was a Cowboy, correct?
He's been on a lot of teams throughout his career. He's been
I remember him being with Dallas.
The Seahawks, the Cowboys, the Lions, and I believe that's a B. He might have played on maybe the Eagles as well. Don't quote me on that. However, he's played for a lot of teams, getting up there in age. However, I think he provides a solid veteran depth piece to that safety room that they kind of needed.
Right, though. We can also talk about, your Keenan Allen to the Chargers.
Love that. Love how our receiver room is shaken out. He looks to be the number 3 in this offense, I believe. QJ has been hyped up all camp, and I'm not a Quentin Johnston guy, and we're going to see it play out again where he's just going to drop stuff.
Quentin Johnston is punching the air, and he dropped the news apparently. I see that on the post when I was looking at it.
He's been doing amazing in camp, but I'm not going to trust any of that until I see it in game. But obviously, number 1 is Ladd. He's going to have another great year. And then I think Keenan Allen's going to provide great advice for Trey Harris, for Keandre Lambert-Smith, really to grow and prosper, if not this year, next year. So
you know who I'm going to compare Quentin Johnston to? I'm going to look at De'Ami Brown because he was really good in training camp. And I'm going to say the same thing with Jahan Dotson. He was good in camp too, but then he was phased out as soon as the big boy games came and everybody strapped the pads on. He would make spectacular catches in camp, both of those two. But for the most part, other than the last couple games of last year with De'Ami, they would be phased out. I mean, same thing with Luke McCaffrey. I've seen a couple from him in camp this offseason, but I hope it doesn't turn into last year. Him and Ben Sinnott were supposed to be, the new guys taking over with Jaden Daniels, but Ben Sinnott's barely even got. I think he got a catch in the NFC Championship game from Trust Way, but nothing else notable.
Yeah, so, and I think it's the Zach Ertz show there. Him and Jaden have great chemistry. They've been,
Zach Ertz
up there.
Zach Ertz has definitely revived his career here in Washington. But
yeah, I think it's a good spot for him. All I would say is, again, just a little bit of different circumstances. I get the De'Ami Brown comp just because De'Ami Brown, he's been in the league 3 years. His 3rd year he broke out. This will be Quentin Johnston's 3rd year, but his first 2 years were really bad.
Yeah.
In my opinion. As far as Jahan Dotson had a stud rookie year. Just after that, he fell off the face of the planet for whatever reason. And I think it was just hands. So, little different career arcs. I like the De'Ami Brown comp, especially like coming from a Commanders fan.
I only just say that Jahan Dotson for the fact that, year after year, even after his great rookie year, he was balling out in camp just to fall flat on his face the last 2 years. So
yeah, no, I understand that. It's just Quentin Johnston, when he opened up camp his first year, he was doing terrible. Like, we knew the drops were going to be an issue, that year. I don't think we should have drafted Quentin Johnston. Again, I like Zay Flowers or Jordan Addison there better. That's how it works out. And speaking of Jordan Addison, arrested for DUI in 2024, receiving the 3-game suspension now.
That was smooth.
I try to flow it in.
Yeah, that was smooth. Yep.
Appreciate it. Again, 3 games. If this is a baseline for a DUI and not really hurting anyone per se, just being crazy, and I don't condone any of this, by the way, we're going to see Rashee Rice. In my estimation, I think Rashee Rice gets at least 6 games suspension. What do you think?
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, getting 3 games. You said he didn't hurt anybody, Jordan Addison? It was just basically
he just got pulled over for a DUI.
Yeah. I feel like Rashee Rice's situation is definitely different there, but yeah, definitely 6 games, if not more, for him. But 3 games is, I'd say maybe like a game or 2, depending on how severe the DUI was. Like what was his breathalyzer? I mean, not gonna say that I condone drinking a beer and then going out for a freaking an evening Sunday stroll in a car or something like that, but
I think it's fair. In all honesty, I don't think there's any excuse for drinking and driving, and I might think 3 games is even light.
There is some type of drink, I'm trying to remember, I think it was some energy drink, if I'm not mistaken, that will actually have you Eagles okay. See, we gotta look on Switch. Eagles to the bowl. Eagles to the bowl.
Probably, bro. Probably. I'm not gonna lie. I appreciate the wrong way to enter. I appreciate the comment though. I'm not a big Eagles guy myself, as far as like just liking the team. However, they're so talented, top to bottom.
Nice to meet you too, man. No biggie. We definitely love all the opinions here. Appreciate you stopping in and hanging out with us too. But Eagles to the Super Bowl again. I don't know, man. I'm a Commanders fan, but I'm gonna say I'm a little salty about that whooping that we took. But appreciate the follow on Twitch, man.
Appreciate the follow, man.
Yeah. But yeah. I mean, we deserved the butt whooping that we got in the NFC Championship game. But I don't know. I don't think I can handle being from the Philly area. I don't think I can handle another Eagles Super Bowl, to be honest with you. It's quite rowdy over in these parts. If you know, you know. Oh
yeah, dude, you gotta grease up the poles. You gotta grease up the poles because you got Spider-Man trying to climb up 37th Street, whatever it is down there.
Oh my god!
If you don't think the Eagles, do you think the Eagles repeat in the bowl, or do you think it's another team?
Me?
Yeah.
Definitely need one back, but Commanders, woo, y'all nice. I'm so happy Terry leaving. Oh my god, been whooping her behind. Oh man. I don't live in Philly. I live in South Jersey, but I see the Philly area just because where I'm from. A lot of people don't really know.
Mess with the Jets or the Giants. Even they're more Philly fans, I bet, over there.
Oh man, I hate the Jets and the Giants. Yeah.
All bad.
Nah, born and raised Commanders fan, Redskins fan back in the day. We'll drop the right name, but it is what it is.
Goodness, I mean, we only got a couple other things to really touch on here.
I gotta answer your question. I still gotta answer your question.
Oh, yeah,
I gotta answer your question about the Eagles going back to the bowl. I want Bills and Lions or Bills and Commanders to go to the bowl this year. To be honest with you, I feel like all 3 of those teams, in my opinion, deserve it. The Lions need to get that ring. The Bills deserve their first ring out of 4 failures, and the Commanders could always use another one with, the Giants winning this.
What about your Lions predictions?
Oh yeah, I said that. Yeah, 7 and 10.
Yeah.
Hayden's dresser looks like the one I used in House Flipper 2 a lot.
Hey, it's a solid dresser, huh?
I'm I'm going Bills Commanders if I'm going to stick to my guns on that Lions pick.
Okay.
But I also saw some dude. I think I sent you the reel about him fishing for attention, talking about the Eagles were going to be in a wild card this year.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't see that at all. I mean, you expect the Commanders to jump them? No offense.
I don't. To be honest with you, being a Commanders fan with the schedule that we have as far as everything goes, we actually have a playoff schedule. Yeah, the Lions are looking scary. Looking scary. Their depth is looking pretty good as for that Hall of Fame game, but preseason means nothing. I think Chris Collinsworth said it the best online, but like I said, I predicted the Commanders to go 10-7, Eagles go 12-5, win the division, but I just think with the Commanders' schedule, the whole Terry drama unfolding, I don't think Terry brings the whole team down and makes us miss the playoffs, but he definitely did help us win some games.
Yeah, and I respect that. And again, the Lions should go off this year if the coordinators kind of stay on track. I feel like if they stay on track, the Lions can perform really good. But
yeah,
again,
play the Jared Goff strengths.
Are way different.
Yeah, play the Jared Goff strengths or whatever as far as the offensive side goes, because you can see what he can do when things don't go his way. He gets rattled, he throws interceptions. He's just make him in a comfortable spot to where he can be a nice game manager, and if he has to make a play, make a play. Just don't rely on him like you're relying on a Jaden Daniels per se, or a Caleb Williams, or I'll say like even for an Eagles fan, a Saquon Barkley. You're gonna rely on Saquon Barkley a bunch.
I wouldn't put Caleb in that combo, but I think more the top echelon of quarterbacks you want down the stretch for sure. But yeah, I think the Eagles repeat. I think it's Eagles Bills or Eagles Ravens.
Ah man,
I gotta go someone else than the Chiefs.
Other than the Chiefs, yeah, it was good. It was good. It was good not seeing them get that victory this last year. So we don't need to see Travis Kelce proposing or whatever. So,
right.
Yeah, go about that Jordan Addison. Get to it. I didn't mean to cut
Jordan
you off
Addison.
about that.
No, you're good. Jordan Addison, 3 games DUI. I expect Rashee Rice to get 6 games. That's my estimation. We should hear news on that pretty soon because, again, the season starts in a month from now. Crazy to think about, by the way. But super excited for that. Other news, again, just 2 tidbits I got to hop on real quick, and then I think we're all good. It's NFL banning ammonia and smelling salts throughout the game, pre-game. You can't do them. Crazy.
For drugs.
And George Kittle, he was making a joke because he's the one who actually broke the news.
Yeah, I heard about that one. Wasn't he a user of the smelling salts? I mean, I've seen a few players use them before, but
he said, "I'm gonna retire now. This hurts me so bad.
Oh man,
I can't do my favorite thing on the field."
You love humor like that, especially with the amount of injuries they're having in camp and all that stuff, and how the last year or so have been for the 49ers. But at least the spirits are still high in that guy's head. So I mean, hell, they just paid Brock Purdy. Hopefully he gets some of those main targets with their wide receiver core going down just a little bit. Like you said, with Ricky Pearsall being their number 1 and Jawan Jennings hopefully working his way back. So George Kittle is definitely going to be taking a lot of those double teams, a lot of those main targets, a lot of those hot routes. So we'll see.
Yep. Expect a big year for Kittle, and then McCaffrey if he stays healthy. As McCaffrey's pretty much the only healthy running back that the Niners have right now, with Isaac Guerrero going down, Jordan James going down as well. So
boy,
very thin lines, and more about thin lines is the Steeler quarterback room. Will Howard breaks his hand literally about 25-30 minutes ago. Jammed it on a dude's helmet. Should be out 3 to 4 weeks. You're looking at a very thin QB room. Washed Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph. How do you think the Steelers fared this year?
Me, I'm trying to remember what my post-draft prediction was for him.
Like I think that was 9.
That was before. Yeah, it was 9-8, right? That was before the Aaron Rodgers pickup and everything. So, I'll go like 7-10.
Oh wow, they get worse.
I feel like they get worse. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be the savior in Pittsburgh. mean, they traded away George Pickens, but like you said, DK Metcalf and Pickens are kind of like the same type of guy in a sense. Both crash outs for sure if you want to go the Gen Alpha route, but we got to look at it like, yeah, I say final prediction 7-10 only for the fact that I think Aaron Rodgers continues his hiatus of the New York Jets times as opposed to the Green Bay Packers times. In my opinion, he's not getting any younger, and you just hated to see what his debut with the debut with the Jets when he ran the flag out, and that was really his only play of the season. You knew it was going to be bad for the Jets. You knew it was going to be bad for him in a Jets uniform. You knew it.
Yeah, it turned out to be one of the biggest memes in general now.
The best plays of Aaron Rodgers' season. Yeah, man, it was tough. Tough turnovers, yeah.
And now anytime someone does something for a split second, oh, it's an Aaron Rodgers meme. You can make bedroom jokes with that thing, talk about not finishing. You could talk about the way someone's in and out, like the burger joint, like it gets real. It gets real.
God, not to mention his ayahuasca retreats, right?
Yeah.
What I used to call it? Ayahuasca or something like that.
Ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha, yeah, right there. That's a supplement, but I'm gonna talk about it. We have to talk about his ayahuasca retreats because me and T actually been playing Green Hell on the VR lately, and we have to actually drink ayahuasca, and it was trippy. I guess it all
in game,
yeah, of course. In Green Hell on the VR, we're not actually, I don't partake in none of that stuff. That's some crazy business. Just sipping liquor, dude. But that's it.
Yeah, some ayahuasca while you're on VR might send you to Jupiter, Mars, and Venus, dude.
The Death Note, man. What do you mean?
All at the same time.
Oh my god. Yeah.
You might be seeing Avatar, dude. The Last Airbender and them blue motherfuckers.
Oh my god. Somebody said that movie was so overrated, the Avatar movies. My father-in-law is actually upstairs watching the OG Avatar.
Avatar's awesome.
Yeah, the blue people, right, or the regular one?
Yeah, the blue people. I like both.
I watched the first Avatar movie, but not the second one. But he was watching the actual, like, the non-cartoon version of The Last Airbender, and I was like, that's actually kind of cool looking. Never a fan of it growing up as a kid, but...
Oh, really? I really liked the show growing up. That was my stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of shows. There was a lot of shows and games. Like Pokemon was also another one for me that I really didn't get into.
I love Pokemon too.
I was sort of a Yu-Gi-Oh person, but then I never played with the cards. I just got them, thought they were kind of shiny, and then put them down and never touched them again. So, yeah, that was me.
I'm bored now.
Yeah, I was in the match. Yeah, literally, I look at them and it's like it is what it is. I was more playing on the PS2, Twisted Metal back in the day, Crash Bandicoot, and then also playing with Matchbox cars. My dad used to give me a bunch of Matchbox cars. So,
heck yeah, Matchbox cars are sick, and then Hot Wheels as well. Both of them are.
Then I grew up, and you got me a Sean Taylor jersey, and then the rest is history. Imagine wearing a Sean Taylor jersey, autographed and signed by all the 2018 Redskins. I got Terrell Pryor on there. I got Tress Way. Then again, you got Jamison Crowder on there too. Will Compton. Yeah, Will Compton. But either way, no, I got that jersey here still. I gotta put it up one. Yeah. Fun times. Yeah, move on from cars to football, and the rest is history. Now we're here doing a JDB Sports podcast. So,
heck yeah!
By the way, CWYMS, we are also on YT as well. We do shorts as well, so if you want to see them, we post a bunch, and we're gonna keep posting like I think every 2 days or so. So if y'all want to get into that, go ahead and go look at that.
Heck yeah!
I'm not trying to dissuade you from anything, but go ahead over there.
Yeah. Anywhere you want to watch, again, much appreciated. Your comments were sick, so
yeah, for sure. Content is in abundance, and we're gonna keep only making more. So we go 365 days a year. We don't stop. That'd be crazy. Imagine doing a stream every single day.
Oh goodness.
There's not enough sports news in the world for that, in my opinion.
You could try to squeeze it out, man. I mean, Sports Center does it, but
we're gonna do a bunch of freaking hypothetical drafts like we did the last couple weeks. So.
Yeah,
keep going on with those, but it's been we got all our topics talked through. We talked about the extensions with players. We talked about the injuries, depth charts of certain teams unofficially. We got the Hall of Fame game breakdown. So if you want to go back to the beginning of the stream, if you're still with us, you should be able to rewind, and you'll be able to see all of that and more. So, but until next time, guys, we'll be back here next Tuesday. We're gonna start a new time. It's gonna be 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's gonna be a little bit easier for everybody on the East Coast to get into it. So, you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your week, and
Good night, guys.
yeah, enjoy.
Peace.
Have a good one.